Hey peeps! So I've got a cool project if you're missing some green or Zelda in your life. I like these terrarium projects a lot because you can create any theme. You can use any type of jar, real plants, fake plants, whatever you want. So, terrariums, Zelda fans, let's get started! You will need a paper plate, pen, paintbrush, cup, and food coloring, Mod Podge, miniature trees, super glue, but also Elmer's glue would do because super glue creates fumes that create haze that's really tough to get off of glass. You'll also need a glass terrarium globe or whatever jar you want to use. Blue nail polish is optional. A miniature link and magic mushrooms. I also linked this polymer link that I'm using in the description box. An assortment of aquatic-y stuff like rocks, faux reindeer moss, white pebbles, or beads. And lastly, some artificial grass mound thingies, often found in hobby shops. So I mapped out where I want my river to be on the artificial grass with a pen. I also poked holes where I wanted my tree and mushrooms to be. The holes are to make sure my objects are secure when I'm ready to glue them in. Next, we're going to place the magical mushrooms. Now I'm going to go in and map out my river over the guide I previously made with the blue nail polish. This step will add some depth to a river that is more of a clear blue on the top, but we'll see how it turns out. Next, I have some natural rocks here. I just found these out and about in the street. If you don't want to make the scavenger hunt awkward, you make sure no one is looking. Okay, so I'm going to be super gluing these rocks around the river. Remember, if you use this glue, make sure you leave the rocks to dry for 2 to 3 days. And place your work away from anything glass because the fumes will mess it up. Hold the rocks with a little pressure as you're gluing to ensure they adhere. Don't forget to keep in mind where you want to place your miniature link. Placing several rocks along the river will help me in keeping my Mod Podge along the guide later. With our rocks thoroughly dry, we can now place what we want in our terrarium. There's no particular order to placing these rocks and moss for the base, just as long as it keeps the grass mound stable. This part is optional, but I'm just adding a little Mod Podge to hold my rocks together. Be extra careful while placing your grass mound in the globe, or you could end up going through a few globes. Next, I'm mixing some Mod Podge with a few drops of blue food coloring to paint the river. Be extremely careful. It's also best to use a small detailing brush for painting the river. Allow your work to dry overnight. You can also carefully add Link or whatever character you want after a few hours or the next day using Mod Podge or Elmer's glue. So here are the final results. I like how the river turned out even though it dried a lot darker. The real rocks next to the giant, yet miniature mushrooms give it a surreal look. In general, this craft takes a few days to complete, but it's worth it for the amount of detail that you're adding. So let me know how your terrariums turned out. And hey, in the famous words of Zelda, it's dangerous to go alone, so take this tutorial with you.